What's up, everybody? Kunal here, Bulls on Wall Street. Happy Sunday. It's the Sabbath. There's no football. What else you got to do but the Lord's work here? Check out what's happening in the stock market. Holy Friday destruction. You know, the markets are playing out kind of how they're supposed to on a technical basis, but it's still always surprising when you get like a 3% move on an index, right? So let's dig into the market indices. What the heck is happening? Is there even anything to trade? For most of you guys, probably no. For you day traders, tons of stuff. As long as you're, flexible, non-biased, and you just follow the price action and the price patterns, right? There's no room for opinions in bear markets. I repeat, there's no room for opinions in bear markets. So after a nasty drop of maybe about 10%, 12%, right? We had a nice dead cat bounce right into the 200-day moving average. And lo and behold, right, we've been rugging since then. Surprise, surprise, right? That's just the way bear market trading is. And now we're coming back and retesting. We're retesting the lows from, the beginning of March. What happens tomorrow, nobody really knows. But we don't have any evidence yet on the price action that the market has healed itself or is even close to it. The one thing that I can say that might be a slight positive if you are a bull is that, maybe some of the stocks have made higher lows from their March 10th lows, right? So, you have Tesla, Palantir, like they haven't come all the way back. So I would say maybe that could be a slight, I wouldn't say bullish thing, but if you're looking to raise your hat somewhere, if you're a bull, I would say that would be maybe one thing to look at. For me, I don't see anything yet. We have here on the SPY also, right? Just a date with destiny at the 500, and we'll see kind of what happens around there. At the SPY, at the QQQs, we're already there, right? We're right at the test of the lows. So a couple things that we need to do for tomorrow, all right? If we bust under, say we get a big gap down tomorrow, right? We'll be at the lower Bollinger Band. It would be day 4 of the move. If that happens, I would expect at some point, Monday afternoon or maybe Tuesday, a little counter trend rally. Because, usually if you gap down big on a day 4 of a move, like something like that's in the cards, right? And we're kind of back into the low. So you kind of flush it out and then bring it back. And then maybe chop around for a little bit. Is that some hot long setup? No. But we have to be prepared to do both tomorrow. Short, if we open up, say, here, then I think we got no choice but to try to fade at some point. If we get a big gap down, that would take us to lower Bollinger Band, right? Take us below this. I think at that point, we would have to try to look for a potential bounce at some point. If you look at the IWM, you also are in a nice bear flag here. So you got spike down, sideways movement, right? Just look like a little hockey stick. That's what I mean, guys. There's just nothing in the price action that says, we really want a long. I think we just are playing extremes right now and doing mean reversion trades if you're on the long side. On the short side, the trend is down. So every little pop, every little doohickey, right, has been giving you awesome opportunities to short. And let me just say something for, people that trade this market. The textbook kind of 1985 technical analysis has been playing out. There's been not that many fake outs. It's been clean stuff like bear flags. Like, when do you ever see bear flags just work so cleanly, right? Stuff like that. Everything is kind of playing out. So just kind of be mindful of that. So watch list for me tomorrow. I got Amazon here. I think this has got a nice breakdown set up here if we need it. 9 EMA is right there, so not crazy extended. If we need a short, I think something like that is got a clean level. UPST here, really similar, right? You just got a nice clean level on this. We've got a handful of names here that I think we can come in and do, right? Like a firm is also, right, got a nice bear flag here. So you got a handful of these kind of names that are holding up. UPST, a firm, and when I mean holding up, I mean like setting up for a bear flag breakdown. Beyond that, I don't think you need to get like too crazy. If you look at, all of this stuff, I think AMD is probably continues to roll over back down into 95. It had a nice squeeze, but now, that's fizzled out. Broke back under the 50, right back into the kitchen on this thing. If you look at AVGO, obviously this is just a grinder. All spikes. If you get a spike back up close to 180, I think that's a good reload spot. Apple's just resting against the 20-day moving average. Nice little doohickeys there. Microsoft. I think this one's got a nice clean look to this. This doesn't move the best in terms of ATR, but it was 3.3% on Friday. I think we could look at doing some calls on this. You could roll in with maybe, if you're looking maybe 375, right? They're about $4, give or take. We could do the 375s. I think that could be a decent spot. You could always do 377s if you just want to be kind of in the money. But something like that would work in the cards. Same thing with Amazon here. With this breakdown here, we could do, I would say the 190s. You don't need to get too crazy. In this market with so much volatility, I don't think you need to go that far out just to save a couple bucks. Like, just next strike price. I think that's just the easiest way to go. Any of these will work. You don't have to have too many stocks on your watch list right now. Tesla, obviously, is starting to re-roll, and it's got some catch-up to do. So watch if it starts to break back under these two EMAs here. That puts it kind of right back into this 220s, 230s range. I'm surprised it actually held up even this well. This is, usually the stock that gets hit the most when the market pulls. And when the market goes, it typically moves the most too. So, whether you like it or not, it just tends to have the most range on it. You can see the ATR on this is about 6.68%, $18 ATR, which is a huge ATR. It's a hard trader for a lot of new people. If you're having trouble managing the range in this market, I'd probably stay away from a name like Tesla and just trade something a little bit easier, like an AMD or something like that. They're all, I think they all have their own, good spots and bad spots, but it's just going to be a lot easier for you to trade something that's not Tesla for, when you have too much range on it for a lot of you new guys. So that's it for the watch list, guys. I don't think you need to have anything crazy. If we try to long some stocks, you can do the same shit, right? You're going to be long in really the same stocks. There's not any hot relative strength play right now that you would be like, wow, if the market turns, I do it. Maybe the Z-scaler has a spot here, right? You got a kind of triple tap breakout. You're right in between the 9 and 20 EMA. So something like that, okay. This XPEV has been grinding down, right? Right into support here. So maybe something like that, I think, is, that's got a decent location to it. Beaky, do you love me? Do you want me? Do you hold me? Right at the 50-day moving average. Now, these stocks all gap a lot, right? Because they're China. So you got to be mindful of that, too. I don't like swing trading China stocks to the upside when the market's like this because you could wake up and it's like you gap down 10%. It's really hard to manage your risk unless you're doing more position trading style stuff where you're kind of layering in and out and you have kind of a big picture move around. So that's it for the watch list. It's slim pickings, but it doesn't matter with so much ATR. Guys, dude, you can fucking shred. You can just be a scalper and trade, with 10, 15-minute hold times and get swing trading gains in this market. So just be mindful of all that. All right? I love you guys. Stay safe, stay clean. You know the drill, baby. Stay safe, stay clean, unless she's above an 8. Then, you risk it all for that fun. Smash that like button if you know what's good for you. I love you guys.